Hello, crypto cats. My name is Tom. I am the crypto investor, and it's time for the weekly market roll up if we must. Ethereum is down 11% on the week, sitting in at 1,750. Bitcoin, quite different, only 2% down, sitting in 28,700. This is the biggest kind of dichotomy of price performance we've seen between these two in a long time, and just showing that. I think it's more of a technical breakdown. There was some concerns that further testing is going to be needed before the merge. So we may see the merge push back a month or so, but it's more that there is it was a technical break of the Bitcoin Ethereum ratio, and just generally people looking at the safe haven of Bitcoin. We'll look at that in the charts in a bit. Other L1s also bleeding pretty hard, another 15 to 20% down for most of them, and possibly still further to go. Not many places to hide and protect value in the crypto space, of course, apart from those stable coins. What's interesting this week is that we've seen a decoupling from the equity markets, which we're all wishing would happen, but it's happened the reverse of what we wanted. So the equity markets have found buyers since the second half of the week and rallied into the close. And your likes of Tesla are up 14%, Amazon, Apple 7-8% or so. Really green week in the equity markets. So at least that could provide some stability. If we have a bit more global economic stability, then that might be something to start building upon. Looking at the bubbles, just continues to be more red. I understand that this chain is not legit. It's not 29th. It's not worth $3 billion and doesn't have any activity on it. So I'm told this is one to be avoiding personally. Just to warn you there. Could be wrong, do your own research, etc., etc. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on the internet. And if you do like the content, please press that. That's the one, that like button there. Cheers. All right, looking at the total value locked in crypto, you can see that it has been horrific since the Lunar event. We have basically halved the amount of value of capital locked in DeFi from 200 billion down to 100 billion. Curve took the brunt of this because they had a lot of capital from the Terra ecosystem locked in there. And so MakerDAO now is back on top as the chain with the most, ecosystem with the most capital locked in it. This set us back a couple of years. That's I think we would have seen crypto breaking to the upside versus the equity markets had it not been for this lunar event, which has tarnished the industry and as I say, set us back and meant that we are likely to face much more scrutiny and regulation, which is perhaps needed. Anyway, looking at the Ethereum burn, see activity is lower on the network. We were used to 5 Ethereum being burnt a minute after EIP 1559. That's now down to 2, so a significant drop of that issuance offset. Continues to be NFTs that are responsible for the majority of that burning. So there is still some activity out there, but it is dropping a little bit. But just to give you perspective of how much activity is dropping, you can see that, okay, this is since the inception of Ethereum, but we're holding still pretty well. We are in a down slope, but it's not like we're dramatically dropping off a cliff like we saw in 2017 when it comes to activity on the network. All right, into news. Pretty cool. Revolut are planning their native token. This will be like a customer reward token. So the more that you use Revolut, the more you'll be rewarded. Revcoin or whatever it may be. And yeah, we don't know much else about it, but it's nice to see trailblazers like Revolut being the first to offer these kind of customer tokens. And it will be something that you will see replacing your Nectar points and your airline miles. This is all coming. It's just we're early, and Web3 will make it. It will prevail. It's just maybe we're talking about 2024, 2025. It's just we're at the concept stage right now. But yeah, cool to see Revolut doing this. Optimism, there's certain network activity showing that Optimism's airdrop is likely to happen this week. So get your Ethereum over there and primed to collect your Optimism if you are eligible. And they deleted 17,000 farmers who were, gaming their system to try and get this airdrop, and it just shows that more than ever you have to just simply be a legitimate customer and interact with these protocols as if you were a customer. If you use multiple wallets and such, you invariably aren't going to win. So pulled together are being the chap behind it's being sued and under fairly nefarious circumstances by I think someone close to a senator or whatever it might have been, but they're releasing a NFT to help raise legal fees for this, and which is this little bird Pooley. And listening to Bankless yesterday, they made a very good point that this holding these NFTs show that you are someone who is upstanding, who's looking to protect DeFi, and generally good. And so it probably earmarks you for an airdrop. If I'm setting airdrop parameters, I'm going to say, right, I want anyone who has a NFT representing the supporting of this legal case. So it's a good cause anyway. But if you're not fully altruistic, then there's an excellent reason to potentially get this NFT because it should earmark you for airdrops, or it could earmark you for airdrops in the future. Possibly not financial advice. We'll see. All right. Spotify are experimenting with releasing musician NFT galleries, which is cool. So yeah, not much more to say about that. Norway are looking at Ethereum layer 2 for their central bank digital trial, and I was talking yesterday with a friend about the merits of Solana and Ethereum. And if you aren't going to be doing something as critical as a central bank digital currency, you're going to choose the chain that has security prioritized over anything else. And so it makes sense that when we're talking about the big capital um, investments out there effectively. So your central bank digital currencies, your stock markets, your securing of property rights. So your ownership of property and all this, you're going to be looking at Ethereum, and it's undoubtedly going to be the layer that governments are going to end up having to use to trust each other when it comes to central bank digital currencies. Chains like Solana are going to be excellent for whatever it may be, like gaming and things like that. But when it comes to actually security above anything else, Ethereum is excellent, in an excellent position to see that activity. Pretty cool though. And just shitting my Ethereum, just that daily reminder that, of course, the merge is happening in about 100 days or so. Despite the price action, things are looking uber bullish on the horizon. Of course, there is the executional risk, but once we cross there, don't forget, we talk about the Bitcoin halving, which happens every 4 years. This is 3 Bitcoin halvings in one. That's the issuance reduction. It's 3 Bitcoin halvings in one day. So that's just one of the many factors. Of course, it becomes environmentally friendly. The energy consumption will drop 99.95%. The yield that you'll get from staking will jump from 4% to 9 to 12%. The miners who are mining Ethereum will no longer be mining, and so there won't be that selling pressure to run their electricity rigs. And of course, it becomes deflationary as an asset. So once we get past that execution, it's just hard. It's hard to see how it can go down further. Anyway, I am just finding what liquidity I can and continuing to dollar cost average in. Obviously, regretful of not taking a bit more profit at the top when we were dizzy over 4,000, but there we are. Dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out. Terra is releasing its 2.0 version to those who are holding it, so that you'll get this airdrop. It's hard to imagine that they're ever going to be able to build any confidence and faith in this ecosystem, but we will see. I don't think there's anything you need to do to get it. Might want to sell it. Sam Bankman-Friedman, this is this is already quite old news, but he's bought a 7.6% stake in Robinhood. He's also said that he'll donate up to $1 billion to Biden, so he's getting very politically engaged. This guy has so much money. It's ridiculous. I can't remember what that one was. Cloudflare are going to be launching Ethereum validators. So we're just saying about um, the merge. Cloudflare are going to be a company who will be running some of that infrastructure and earning that yield. And I think we'll see this more and more. To own that that secure core. I want to find you a picture of the ecosystem. It's going to be extremely valid. I saw a picture that really helped to bring it to light. So you think about the Ethereum as a centralized kind of security bedrock, which isn't particularly scalable or low in cost, of course, with the trilemma that we constantly talk of, but you have that security and then that bedrock, and then you build the scaling layers on top of it, and that's what we're looking at. GameStop have released their digital wallet. I just downloaded it. It's really good. It's it's as user friendly and intuitive as MetaMask. Default, it will run on Loopring, which is holding up better than many other alts out there. But Loopring, I don't know where else they have network effect, but this will help them with their network effect. And GameStop, of course, has its loyal army of degenerate investors to support it. I can't pronounce his name. Anderson Horowitz. Oh, I have heard his name. He's launching a $4.5 billion Web3 investment fund. This is huge amounts of capital. They, good investors look at the horizon, not their feet. They're long-term players, and this is a massive amount of capital to be investing into Web3, and looking particularly at areas like DeFi, gaming, infrastructure, DAOs, NFTs, privacy, and decentralized social media. So projects like Pocket, I would be flabbergasted if Pocket isn't one of the projects that they will be allocating some capital in. And just to share as well that Solana for a day last week overtook Ethereum in NFT trading volume. It was due just to this one particular project of tripping apes. But just to show you that there is decent traction there. But in less bullish Solana news, they have their central clock, which is responsible for. I should prepare this earlier, shouldn't I, Crypto Cats? Which is responsible for keeping the blocks in order. It lost track of time and was 30 minutes behind yesterday. So still some infancy issues to work on there, Solana. I think we see prices get a lot lower for Solana. Let's dive into the charts. So starting with the NASDAQ, I mentioned that the TradFi markets have broken that downward cycle, this is looking at the weekly charts. You can see that we did have 7 red candles in a row to form a nice bounce and to also close at the top of the session highs, which is normally a continuation. Normally points towards continuation. Monday is a national holiday in the US. That also you normally get buying into a long weekend. So this is good. This just is steadying the ship a little bit in the traditional finance world. The S&P much the same. We will see. I don't think we would need a second week to show some kind of sign of reversal. There's so many economic headwinds that we're facing. But yeah, for now, prices got too cheap and we saw a bounce. So we will see. But less nice, let's look at the crypto markets. This is the total crypto markets. We're now down to $1.18 trillion. So we have had, this will be our 8th week in a row red. We have in the past 49 days lost nearly half the value of the crypto markets. And we're sitting at this fairly pivotal moment where you can see we've had support here 3 times in a row. And this obviously coincides very much with Bitcoin, which dominates still nearly 50% of the total market. And so we're really staring at this precipice right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if the market makers look to push us off this cliff to trigger further liquidations, only to then snap up some cheaper tokens and for us to bounce. So we will see how this plays out. But for me, no one knows what's going to happen in the market. Everyone seems to be certain we're going further down. We may well be. But as no one knows, my advice continues to be just a dollar cost average. It's impossible to catch this falling knife. So I'm dollar cost averaging here into Ethereum pre-merge. And I'm setting some buy orders also down here around just above 1400. If we do break here, we could easily move down and test that low, which would be a further 20% or so move. Below there, unless things get really apocalyptic in the global economy, I think we should be okay. But this is crypto. Nobody knows. And crypto has never had a recession. We've never seen how Bitcoin and Ethereum perform during a recession. Looking at Bitcoin versus the Nasdaq, you can see that we are sitting kind of at support here and still holding this wedge formation. However, if we look at Ethereum versus the Nasdaq, so how Ethereum is performing versus the Nasdaq, really not pleasant. We had been in this wedge, which I was adamant we were going to break to the upside because Ethereum is becoming deflationary. I was wrong, and we have broken since to the downside. So yeah, really not a pleasant chart to look at the Ethereum markets versus the Nasdaq, and the same goes with ETH versus Bitcoin. So we had been, I don't know why I've lost all my charting on here, but we were also in somewhat of a wedge formation, and then ETH lost the upward channel versus Bitcoin, and has since this did have drawings on it anyway, and has since lost it. And so now it's a case of, look out below. We could see Ethereum slip further here versus Bitcoin. It's just something we have to accept. And of course, when we look at dominance, so how much of the total market is Bitcoin, we are hitting highs that we haven't seen since October last year. Bitcoin is now 46% of the total market and moving up. We'll see if it can get above 50. I don't think it necessarily can. We are in a multi-chain world, and when you look at the price of assets like Solana, which I think probably get worse. I really think Solana could continue to fall another 40% down to the 20s here. I'm not saying immediately. We're probably due a relief rally after 8 weeks in the red. But yeah, I would be surprised if Bitcoin gets above 50%. I'd expect resistance there. The dominance of Ethereum is down to 18%. We have been back and forth between 18 and 20% of the total market for the last 400 days. I'd be surprised if ETH drops below this level of the total market. We will see. But it's certainly lost a lot of its luster this week. But I really do feel it is fairly short-lived. Just because, people maybe are cautious of the executional risk of the merge, but I have my confidence in those devs, and I think the big change in narrative in the tokenomics is just so significant that I would be very surprised if after a successful merge, by the end of this year, if we're not into 25, 26, 27% of the total market for Ethereum. But we will see. Looking at those other L1s, so Avalanche, much the same, continuing to just rot down, unfortunately. Much like Solana, I think it's got another 40-50% drop in the tank. One of the things you have to remember with the likes of Avalanche and Solana is how much initial VC capital is being vested and unlocked. And so, unlike if Ethereum doesn't have any new tokens being unlocked to original investors, whereas Solana still has 10, 20, 30%, which those original investors continue to be vested. I know people I was chatting to, who have sold their exchanges to FTX, for example, and been paid in Solana, which gets vested, which gets released to them. So there's all this capital still to be released, which you have to factor into your decision making. But I think this is like Ethereum back in 2018, 2019, where we're looking at we're already 85% down. I think we get to like 92, 93% down, and it's another excellent asset to be dollar cost averaging into, because I do think they persist. All right, what else do we want to look at? I think that was it, really. I mentioned loop ring. So yeah, loop ring is holding at the moment. Ugh, could easily break. We will see. Oh, and then just looking at the total alt market, continues to bleed. DeFi, horrific. Metaverse, even worse. So we're saying about 8 red weeks in a row. Metaverse is 10 red weeks in a row. Looking like, we probably are going to get a relief rally. I'd say if you look at, say, Ethereum, I think a relief rally looks very, very probable at this point. We have this extremely strong resistance at 1700. I'm not saying it's not going to break, but it's certainly stronger than this downward trajectory which we've been in for the last week. So I would say that as we finish this little wedge here, that there is a very decent probability that Ethereum at least breaks to the upside and tries to get back above 1930. We will see. So I would say that maybe we retest this one more time, and that we likely get a relief rally up to 1930. But I'm not a trader, I'm not a financial advisor, etc., etc. Oops. But yeah, I think something like this probably plays out. Anyway, that's enough waffle from me. I hope you found it useful. I hope you're coping okay, crypto cats. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It's been pretty painful to see so much on paper gains wiped out. But I've endured this in 2013. I've endured this in 2017. I'll endure it again. Must learn to take more profits. Must learn to hold that emergency fund of cash, always having at least 3 to 5% of your wealth in cash. It's really important to do so, and it makes it much easier when we do have these downturns and you don't have to liquidate assets. So we learn from these. We come out stronger. We come out better. Ethereum is going to hit all-time highs. Again, it's just a case of when. So yeah, keep your resolve, and I look forward to the day where we're celebrating $20,000. It will come, and the same for Pocket, $2 Pocket. It will happen as well. All right, that's all for now. All the best. Cheers.